It was an ordinary underground garage, the two-level kind under a shopping center, and I'd parked on the lower deck because the upper one was full. Concrete pillars, low ceiling, that orange light that makes everything look like an old photograph. I went up, I did my couple of hours, and I came back down to get my car. The same spot I'd left it. You always do. You come in one car, you leave in it. And you don't think twice about walking back to it alone. The lower deck was nearly empty by the time I came back down. Most people park up top near the doors. Down here it was just a handful of cars spread out across a lot of gray concrete. Mine was at the far end, near the wall, past a big square pillar, tucked into a corner the cameras, if there were cameras, would have had the hardest time seeing. I hadn't chosen it for that. I'd chosen it because it was the first open space I'd found. But that's the thing about those corners. You don't pick them on purpose. You just end up in them, and so does whoever's looking for one. I came around the pillar with my keys already in my hand, and I stopped. Because there were two men standing at the back of my car. Not beside it, not walking past it on their way somewhere. At the rear of it, between the bumper and the wall, in a strip of space maybe 3 feet wide that goes nowhere and leads to nothing. There is no reason on earth to stand there. It's not on the way to any other car. It's not on the way to the stairs. It is a dead end behind a stranger's car, and two grown men were standing in it, facing out, toward the deck, toward me. My first thought wasn't fear, it was confusion. I actually looked around for their car, the way you do, trying to make it make sense. Okay, they're loading something, they're parked next to me. There's a logic here I'm just not seeing. But there was no car next to mine. The spaces on either side were empty. The nearest other vehicle was rows away. These two had walked, on foot, across an almost empty lower deck, past every open space in every other car, to stand in the one blind dead end behind the one car that was tucked in a corner. Mine. And they had gotten there before me, and they were waiting. One of them was looking down at his phone, holding it up, sort of toward me, and the other was just watching me come. And I did the thing you do when your gut knows before your head does. I slowed down. I didn't walk up to my own car. I stopped maybe 15 feet out in the open, where there was still floor around me, and I pretended to be looking at my phone too, while every part of me was reading the distance between them and the driver's door, and the distance between me and the ramp, and doing math I didn't want to be doing. The one watching me said something. Light, casual, friendly even. We're just waiting for someone. And the word just did something cold to me, because nobody waits for someone in the 3-foot gap behind a stranger's car on the empty level of a garage. You wait by the doors. You wait by the stairs. You wait where your friend can see you. You do not wait pressed against a wall behind a vehicle that isn't yours, in the one spot down there that nobody can see into, unless the thing you're waiting for is whoever comes back to that car. I said something back. I don't even remember what. Something normal. Something to keep the air normal. Oh, okay. Some nothing sound. And I did not move toward the car. I stood in my open patch of floor, and I kept my eyes up. And the second man, the one with the phone, glanced at the first one. A quick look. A check. The kind of look that isn't between two friends killing time. It's the look between two people who'd agreed on something and are deciding whether it's still on. And in that look, I understood I was not supposed to have stopped. I was supposed to walk up to my door, keys out, thinking about my day, right into the strip where they were standing. I wasn't supposed to read it from 15 feet out. I was supposed to deliver myself into it. So I lifted my phone all the way up, like I was taking their picture. I didn't say anything. I just raised it and pointed it right at them. And the one watching me said fast, We're not doing anything. Not, what are you doing? Not annoyed, we're not doing anything. The answer to a question I hadn't asked. And the other one, the one with the phone, turned and walked. Fast. Straight off down the deck toward the ramp, not looking back, leaving his friend standing there. And it landed on me all at once that two men who are just waiting for someone do not have one of them bolt the instant a phone comes up. The one who stayed tried to hold it together. He put his own phone away and he said, "We weren't taking your photo," again, answering a thing I never said out loud. And he started to drift, sideways, out of the dead end, into the open, trying to look like a man who just happened to be standing somewhere. But he'd lost it. The two of them had been a pair, positioned, patient, and the second I stopped being an easy walk-up, they came apart. One fleeing, one improvising, both suddenly very interested in being anywhere but behind my car. I did not go to my car. My car was the trap. My car was the whole point. So I turned and I walked, not toward it, toward the ramp, toward the way out, back the way the first one had gone, but wide of him, out in the middle of the lane where there was light and space, keeping the second man in the corner of my eye the whole time. And he didn't follow. He stood by the wall and watched me go. And I walked up that vehicle ramp on foot, against the direction of traffic, out into the daylight of the street, and I did not stop until I was standing in a crowd of strangers, in front of the building, shaking, with my own car still parked in the dark below me. It took me almost an hour, and a security guard walking down with me, to go back for it. And here's the part I keep coming back to. When we got down there, they were gone, both of them. No car pulled out because they'd never had a car, and there was nothing on mine. Nothing slashed, nothing taken, nothing left, nothing wrong with it at all. Whatever it was, it hadn't started yet. It was still in the part before anything happens, which is the only part that ever leaves you anything to say. I think about the version where I came around that pillar, tired, looking at my phone, and walked straight up to my door the way I had 1,000 times. There'd have been no break-in to find, no chase on any camera, just a car left on a lower deck with the keys still in the lock. So I don't park underground anymore if I can help it, and when I can't, I don't take the corner spot, the tucked away one by the wall, the one that feels lucky because it's open. It's open for a reason. Somebody else liked it first. I never park where I can't drive straight back out now, and I never walk up to a car I can't already see all four sides of. The lucky spot is the bait. I was changing buses, and the transfer point was one of those places that only exists because two routes happen to cross there. A stop on a wide road on the edge of town, a little strip of dead businesses behind it, a shuttered donut place, a restaurant with the lights off, a couple of storefronts with paper in the windows. 9 at night, everything closed. My first bus dropped me, pulled away, and the board said the next one was about 30 minutes out. So I had 30 minutes to stand there, alone, on a lit bench, in the one pool of light, in a place where every door behind me was locked and dark. At first, it was just boring. You do the things you do. You check your phone, you watch the empty road, you count the minutes down. The lights over the stop were the flickering kind, buzzing, half of them out. No traffic to speak of, no one else waiting. Just me and a timetable and a lot of dark glass behind my back. And then a car went by. A white one, slow, slower than the empty road needed anybody to go. And as it passed, I could feel the driver's head turn toward me, watching me the whole way past, until the dark took the taillights. I told myself it was nothing. People look at people. But a minute later, the same white car came back, from the other direction this time. Slow again, the head turned again, reading me on the bench like a thing he was checking on. And then it pulled in, not to the stop, to the closed donut shop next door, into the empty lot of a business that had been shut for hours. And it parked, nose out, engine running, then off, and nobody got out. A car, parked at a closed shop at 9 at night, with a man sitting in it, facing the stop where I was waiting alone. I did the math I think we all do. How far to a door that opens? How far to anyone? And the answer was nowhere and no one. Every business behind me was locked. The road was empty both ways. The next bus was still 20-some minutes out, and the only other human being in sight was a man sitting in a parked car at a dead storefront, not getting his donuts because there were no donuts, not making a call, not looking at his phone, just sitting, facing me. And then the car door opened, and he got out. And that was almost worse than him sitting there, because now the car, the thing I'd been watching, the threat I'd located, the car wasn't the point anymore. He left it parked and he walked away from it, across the road, to the other side, to the front of the closed restaurant, and he started to pace. Back and forth, in front of the dark glass, hands at his sides, glancing over at me across the road every pass. A man with nowhere to be, killing time in front of a place that was shut, on the opposite side of an empty street from a stranger on a bench. I stood up. I didn't have a plan, I just couldn't keep sitting. I moved up the sidewalk a little, toward the brightest of the broken lights, trying to look like a person who knew what she was doing and wasn't afraid. And across the road, he stopped pacing and watched me move. And when I'd settled in my new spot, he started up again, matching me. Not crossing yet, just keeping me in sight, keeping the distance, like a man waiting for the right moment in a thing he'd already decided to do. And then he wasn't there. I looked over and the front of the restaurant was empty. No pacing figure, no white car door, nothing. And I want to tell you that was a relief, but it was the opposite. Because a man you can see across the street is a man you can watch. And a man who's suddenly gone is a man who could be anywhere, coming around behind the dark storefronts, crossing where I couldn't see, closing the distance in the one stretch of time I'd lost track of him. I had maybe 10 minutes of bus left, and I spent them turning in a slow circle, trying to watch every dark direction at once. And the board with the times on it was right there in the light, where I'd been checking it, where he could read it too. He wasn't rushing. He had the same clock I did, and he was letting it run down. And that's when I saw him again. Not across the street, on my side now, down the sidewalk, maybe 100 feet, having come around from somewhere, walking toward the stop, toward me, unhurried even, steady. The way you walk when you've timed something and you know you've got just enough room. And as he came under one of the working lights, I could see he had something in his hand. Something white. Folded. A folded white cloth. Held low in one hand. The way you hold a thing you're going to use and not a thing you're carrying anywhere. He'd left the car. He'd crossed the street. He'd come around on foot. He'd let the clock run down to the dead minutes. And now he was walking the last 100 feet toward a stranger on a bench at a closed transfer stop with a white cloth folded in his hand. And there was no version of that, not one, that I could turn into something a person carries by accident. I did the only things I had. I stepped right to the edge of the curb, out into the light, into the open, where the road was, where a car could see me. And I got my phone up to my ear, talking to no one, loud. "Yeah, I'm right here. I see you. Are you turning in now?" Saying it to nobody, for him, so the shape walking at me would think someone was about to arrive. And he slowed. He didn't stop, but he slowed, reading it, weighing it, the cloth still in his hand. He was close enough now that I could see he wasn't talking. Not, do you have the time? Not, is this the stop for downtown? None of the things a real person says when they walk up to you at a bus stop. No words at all. Just coming, steady, eyes on me, the way you move toward a thing, not toward a conversation. And I stood at the very edge of the curb with my fake phone call and my heart going so hard I could hear it, watching the distance close. 40 feet, 30, running out of road behind me and time in front of me at exactly the same speed. And then headlights swung around the corner. The bus, 2 minutes early, or 2 minutes that felt like a gift from God, coming up the wide road with its lit-up windows and its big diesel rattle. And I stepped off the curb waving both arms, into the road, into its lights, so there was no chance on earth it wouldn't stop. And the man stopped, right where he was, 20 feet from me, the cloth still in his hand, and he watched the bus pull in between us, and the doors open, and me get on. I went straight to the back and I watched him out the window as we pulled away. He didn't run, he didn't shout, he didn't try the door. He just stood on that sidewalk in the bad light, the white cloth hanging from his hand, watching the bus take me away. Not angry, not even disappointed, just empty. I never reported it because what is there to report? A man stood near a bus stop. A man held a cloth. A man looked at me. Nothing happened, and nothing happened doesn't have a form you can fill out. But I know what I watched build for half an hour, and I know it only didn't finish because a bus driver was early. What I changed is small, and I've never broken it since. I don't wait out a gap in a place that's already closed. If the businesses are dark and the road is empty, and I've got 20 minutes to stand alone, I find the lit doorway, the open shop, the gas station up the road. I move the weight to where there are people, and I let the bus catch up to me there. The empty places are where the clock is on his side. I needed to get to another city, a few hours away, and I didn't have a car or the money for the train. So I used one of those ride boards, the apps where regular people with a car post a long trip they're already taking and sell the empty seats. You book a seat, you split the gas, you ride along. Thousands of people do it every day, and it's mostly completely fine. And I want to be honest about why I felt okay getting into a stranger's car for 5 hours. Because I wasn't going to be the only passenger. The listing showed 2 seats booked, me and one other person. A stranger, sure, but a stranger means a witness, and a witness means nothing can happen. The driver seemed normal enough when he picked me up. A guy with a regular car, music on, the trip already half planned. He was a little too friendly, a little too interested, but people are, and I was watching for the wrong things. I was watching him, the driver, because in my head the driver was the only variable. The other passenger was my safety, locked in, already booked. So when he said, pulling away from the curb, "Just gotta grab the other rider on the way out of town," I didn't think a thing of it. Good, the other rider. The whole reason this was fine. We drove toward the second pickup and his phone buzzed in the cradle. He looked at it at a red light and he made a little sound, a little, huh. And he said, other guy just canceled. Just like that, casual. Says something came up, so it's just us. And he pulled through the light and kept driving toward the highway, out of the city, like a seat had not just disappeared, like the only other person who was ever going to be in that car hadn't just stopped existing between one red light and the next. And everything I'd told myself fell out from under me at once. The witness was gone. The whole reason I'd felt safe, a second stranger, a person in the back seat, a set of eyes, just canceled by text, 30 seconds before we left the last lit streets I'd see for a while. And the timing of it sat on me like a stone. Not the day before, not that morning, right then. At the exact moment it was too late to be useful and too early for me to do anything about it. Maybe he really did have something come up. Maybe. But the second seat had been the only thing standing between me and being alone with this man. And now it was empty. I tried to do the reasonable thing, the thing you talk yourself into. People cancel. It's an app. Flaky people use it. It doesn't mean anything. I could ask him to let me out, but we were already on the on-ramp. And what would I even say? A stranger canceled, so now I'm scared of you? I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to be dramatic. I didn't want to make a 5-hour trip impossible over a feeling. So I stayed in the seat, and I told myself I was being paranoid, and the city lights thinned out behind us, and the dark came up on both sides, and the road went from highway to 2 lanes through trees. And once it was just us, he changed. Not all at once, by degrees. The friendly got more personal. Where do you live exactly? Are you meeting someone there? Who's waiting for you? Does anybody know which ride you took? And I lied, the way you learn to lie. Yes, someone's expecting me. Yes, they know the driver's name. Yes, I'm checking in with them. None of it true, all of it armor. And he'd nod and go quiet, and then ask another one. Working through a list, mapping out exactly how alone I really was. One friendly question at a time. Then he started inventing reasons to be off the route. First it was, I just need to swing by my place quick and grab my license. I left it. On a 5-hour trip he's been planning, he forgot his license. And his place happens to be down a turn off the main road into the dark. I said, fast, can it wait? I really need to be there on time. And he laughed and said, sure, no problem, and didn't take the turn that time. But now I knew the shape of where his head was, and the road kept getting emptier, and we were a long way from the last town. He said he was getting tired, and then he said the thing that I think was a test. You should rub my neck a little, he said. Keep me awake, it's a long drive. Light, like a joke, watching me in the mirror to see what I do. And I gave the little laugh and the, ha, I'm good, you want me to find you a coffee place? Turning it, deflecting, keeping it pleasant, keeping the temperature down. Because some animal part of me knew that the wrong reaction, a sharp no, a scared no, would tell him out loud what we both already knew, and I wasn't ready to say it out loud in a moving car in the dark. And somewhere on that black stretch of road, the whole thing came clear to me, cold and complete. The second passenger was never my safety. The second passenger was the bait that got me into the car. A solo woman doesn't book a stranger's car for 5 hours. She books a car with 2 seats taken, because 2 means a witness, 2 means safe. And then the witness cancels the second she's committed, and she's alone with him on the highway, in the car she got into herself. And I'll never know if the other rider was real and flaky, or just a number on a screen the whole time, put there to make the listing look safe. And then he said it, flat, eyes on the road. Not as a threat, exactly, worse than a threat, as a fact. You know, he said, if I wanted to, I could just turn off up here and take you into the woods. Nobody would know. And then he glanced at me to watch it land, and he smiled a little and went back to driving, like he'd commented on the weather. I did not scream. I did not grab the wheel. At 60 miles an hour on a forest road, with him between me and everything, that gets me killed, not saved. So I did the only thing that had kept me alive in that car so far. I kept it boring. I said in the flattest, most ordinary voice I could find, yeah, my brother actually used to say stuff like that to freak me out. He's the one tracking my phone tonight. He gets weird if I go quiet. A lie, layered on a lie. A brother, tracking my phone, watching this exact trip. I made the woods sound like a place with a witness in it after all. And I watched him take it. Watched him weigh nobody would know against a brother with my location open on a screen somewhere. He didn't say anything for a minute. He just drove. And then he said, too casual, "You hungry? I'm gonna stop up here. I know a place." And I knew the place would be the wrong kind of place. A closed lot, a dark pull-off, somewhere with no one, dressed up as a favor. So I got ahead of it. I said, "Honestly, yes, but I need a real bathroom and a coffee. There's a big truck stop in a few miles, the lit-up one. Can we do that one?" He didn't want to. I could feel him not wanting to. He started to slow for an exit that had nothing on it. No lights, no sign, just a ramp into more dark. And I said it again, brighter, louder, already gathering my bag into my lap. "The big one, the truck stop. I really need it, it's right up here." Narrating it like it was decided, like there was no version where we didn't. And the lit sign of a real truck stop came up ahead, tall and bright and full of parked rigs and people. And I think the only reason he took that exit instead of the black one was that I'd made it harder to explain why he wouldn't. He pulled into the truck stop and I was out of the car before it fully stopped rolling. Bag on my shoulder, door open, both feet on the ground, into the light, into the noise of idling trucks and people walking to the doors. And I did not get back in. I stood near the entrance where the cameras and the people were, and I told him, through the window, "Thank you so much. I'm actually going to catch a ride with my cousin from here." Another lie. "Go ahead without me." And he sat there a second, looking at me, deciding, and then he pulled out of that lot, alone, and the car and the trip and the empty second seat drove off into the dark without me in it. I never reported it, and I've made my peace with why. He never touched me. He said one sentence about the woods and then took me to a truck stop. On paper, a man drove a passenger part way and she got out early. There's no crime in that, no name to give. The name on the app was probably nobody, and the second passenger I could never even prove was real. The account is still out there. And the next person who books a safe ride with 2 seats taken has no way of knowing if the second one will still be there when the doors close. I still don't have a car. I still sometimes have to get from one place to another with strangers, because that's the world. But I read the trip now, not just the driver. I learned that the safest looking part of a booking can be the part that's engineered to vanish. That there'll be someone else in the car is exactly the kind of promise a system can take back the second you're committed and moving. So now, if the thing that made me say yes disappears, I disappear too. I get out at the first lit place with people, and I let it cost me the ride. Because the one time I didn't trust the empty seat, I got to get out at a truck stop instead of a tree line. It's the reason I'm still here to tell you, and let's never meet. 3 trips, 2 men waiting at the one spot I had to come back to, on the deck where I'd parked. A man with a folded cloth, walking out the clock between 2 buses, in a place that was already closed. And a stranger's car that was only safe because of a second passenger, right up until that passenger was gone, and the safe part of the trip turned out to be the bait. None of them had to find me. None of them had to follow me. They just knew where the gap was and waited inside it. So before you close the tab, ask yourself the quiet question. Of those 3, the deck you walk back across, the stop where you wait out the dark, the seat that was supposed to have a witness in it, which gap would you have stood in too long, out of being tired or polite or not wanting to make a scene? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe so the next one reaches you before the dead minutes do. And the next time a schedule leaves you alone in the in-between, ask who else knows exactly where that gap is and how long you'll be standing in it.